wanted to ask you something about on Western Sahara and also South Sudan. In Western Sahara, there's a letter that I've seen from staff union, UNISERV and another union, basically saying that the staff that are supposed to be returned have received a letter that makes them doubt that they'll actually be returned. And the letter from the staff union to Secretary General and Mr. Ladsous talks about political compromises and urges a compliance with UN rules in terms of how staff are treated. Can you confirm receipt of the letter, and what is the response of the Secretariat to the staff union saying that basically the rights of staff under the rules are being traded away from political convenience?
Well, we are aware of the letter. I don't have any response to share with you at this point. I believe that that will be considered.
Okay. And I wanted to ask on South Sudan, I've seen this couple of things, but one is a series of instructions to UN staff that when stopped by South Sudanese authorities to not roll down the window more than 1 inch, to not relinquish IDs, of various things. And there's also then in Yambio an order by the government that all UN staff that come into the county have to register with the National Safety and Security Service. Is that consistent with the SOFA? And also, do these rules, including not giving an ID to police when asked, is this something that the UN does elsewhere? What is this unique to South Sudan, and does it comply with the SOFA?
The UN is certainly complying with the Status of Forces Agreement, and we implore all parties to do so as well. Regarding the measures put in place, what we are emphasizing is the need for free movement of all UN personnel, and that needs to be respected in accordance with the Status of Forces Agreement.
This registration with a relatively controversial National Safety and Security Service, is the UN complying with that?
We we certainly won't do anything to put staff lives in danger, but the basic point is that we have been in touch on these issues, and we want to make sure that that the Status of Forces Agreement is complied with. One of the things, by the way, in the Status of Forces Agreement, and I'm just quoting, this is a public document, and you can see on the website, it says, "The government undertakes to facilitate the entry into and departure from South Sudan without delay or hindrance of the special representatives and members of UNMISS, and shall be kept informed of such movement." We have rules governing the freedom of movement into and out of South Sudan, as well as through South Sudan, and we would like those to be observed.
Okay, just one more on South Sudan. Yesterday, I'd asked you about this process of registration. You'd said you thought it was going, as required. There's an AP story saying that people haven't been registered, and there's a Times story now saying that Stephen O'Brien acknowledges that it's going slowly. So what is the status of trying to fix that?
It's going, but it is going slowly, given also different things, including the large numbers of people in certain areas, as well as the unrest in different areas. However, different agencies, including the World Food Program, are trying to deal with registration, trying to get people registered as efficiently as possible, and are also dealing with community elders to make sure that people can be processed.
But is the non-registration, does this result in a lack of food, which causes women to have to leave the camp and subjects them to the risk of rape? That's the question.
Like I said, the World Food Program is trying to get food to all those in need. They're also working with community elders to make sure that people's needs are provided for, even as they process registration.
I want to ask on Burundi, something new, and then one is a follow-up question. There's reports there of a mass grave of 12 bodies being unearthed in Ngozi. And so I wanted to know if it's something that has reached your office, or if the UN is going to have any role in examining that. And also, I'd asked you about Lieutenant Colonel Mayuyu, deployment. People continue to say that he's actually being deployed to CAR, and they've linked him to a unit that was involved in torture and other abuse in December 2015. So what is that in fact being I don't know if you looked into it, but I did ask it here. Go ahead.
Yes, I did look into that. As far as I'm aware from our colleagues in MINURSO, they're not aware that this person is on any of their rosters. They're continuing to check to see whether it was under a different name or something, but no. At this point, we don't have that. Regarding mass grave in Ngozi, of course, we're concerned about any reports of mass graves, and I'll look and see whether we have anything further about this particular.
And did you have, I just wanted to follow up. Yesterday I'd asked about Seung-Soo and whether he's the special advisor.
Yes, yes, he remains special advisor. I've put in a request to the ethics office to see whether he's made any notifications of different business dealings. I believe he may have done some, but I'm trying to get it from the ethics office. Alas, at this time of summer, there's some offices that will be harder to get replies back from.
But
So
would- I just-
I'll
I-
let you know once I have it.
Sure, I just want, I guess I want to understand, there's a rule that seems to say that a person needs approval from the Secretary General for outside. Does that apply here, or is it just a matter of saying that you're doing it?
Well, first I need to check again whether the ethics office has had any notifications of any other activities.
I thought you might have it. Yesterday I'd asked Stephane, and he'd said it was not an unfair question, whether the Secretary General approved the service of Jane Hall-Lute
Oh,
on
yes.
Union Pacific's board.
Yes, we've checked, and the answer is yes, she did seek approval and did receive it.
And what I wanted to ask, I have a second question, which is that is Mr. Seung-Soo still the Special Advisor on Water and Risk Reduction?
I believe he was appointed that some time ago. Whether he still has that portfolio or not, I would need to check.
Because what I want to know is that he's also on the board of directors of a South Korean firm, Doosan Infracore, which is listed in the UN procurement database as doing business with the UN. So I wanted to know if maybe you can actually send me the answer, whether, in fact, if these two services are concurrent, whether it's been approved by the Secretary General, and whether there's some special kind of safeguards that he recuse himself from business involving the UN, or whether it's possible to be a UN special advisor on the board of a company that does business with the UN.
Well, first and foremost, I'll need to check what his status is, whether he's an advisor or not.
Okay.
Have a good afternoon.